What's going down, y'all? It's the Wake Up Crew. Ray G, joined as always by my man Jay Rich to talk some NBA prop plays over on PrizePicks for this Monday, November the 28th, 2022 NBA slate. Got 10 games on the docket tonight. We shopped the book lines. We checked the PrizePicks board, grind the model. Think we found some really good plays for us to attack today over on PrizePicks. As always, we don't make you pay for picks. Just hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, like the content. Take what you like, leave what you don't. Comment below. Let us know what you're rocking with. Quick recap of the plays that I talked about for the Sunday slate. It's awful for your boy. 1 for 3. Steph Curry more than 4.5 threes. Did not hit. He had 4. Andrew Wiggins had his first half fantasy score, 15.5 cashed, and then they took a steal away, and that dropped him to an under 15.5, so that missed. Marcus Morris under his full game fantasy score of 28.5. Process was right. That cash, we're going back to that same process today. And then, unfortunately, Ben Simmons decided to sell his soul and only scored 2 points in the first half after being on fire lately. So that didn't cash either. But we got some good plays. Hit the model. Let's dive into it right after the intro.
For all the high-flying action, take a step back and relax. It's time to count that money, the NBA props. No look any further. You know what time it is. Presented by PrizePicks, NBA props. Let's
count that money, man. All right, Jay, the first play that I want to talk about on the docket tonight is Nikola Jokic, center from the Denver Nuggets, facing off against the Houston Rockets tonight. His fantasy score of 56.5, you see in the model. Very difficult matchup for the center position, right? We got him projected right around his last 5 averages, been 50.6. Anywhere, standard deviation is pretty solid with Jokic. So on the high end, you're looking at a fantasy score of about 59.2. And on the low end, right around 42 fantasy score for Jokic. Now, you think about the Rockets and you're like, ah, man, that defense has got to be awful. Well, let's go ahead and go over here and check out props.cash at the Rockets defense versus the center position. You see, difficult matchup. They are difficult. They're pretty good at limiting centers to rebounds and just their center defense overall. Now, they will give up the draws in the points department, but right now, Jokic's points, rebounds, and assists on the books, 46.5 with juice to the under. You see what he's done over his last 5. He did get 50 and 58 versus OKC. He does something like this, we're pretty much cooked. But he has not been super active defensively with Jokic. You always got to worry about steals and blocks for Jokic. But with the Rockets gunning from the outside, I don't think he's going to be doing too much of that tonight. And if you look at the fantasy score game log versus the Rockets from the center position, of everybody on the team that's listed as a center, not just one individual player, they've only allowed a couple of teams to go over 57 fantasy score on the season. So they've been a really good defensive matchup against them. And you look at the teams that did go over, the centers that did go over, shot a collective 68% from the field, 72%. So if Jokic is going to go out there and shoot 68, 70%, then damn it, we're just going to lose this one. His fantasy score versus the Houston Rockets in his career, he's only cleared 57 4 times versus the Rockets. He did it last season in April and then in 2020. And I know it's a new season, all of that good stuff, but this is a difficult matchup. I am going to trust the process and take an under on Jokic's 56.5 fantasy score tonight versus the Rockets, Jay. Going to roll it. Locking it in as a core play for me.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's one that people won't be on because they think Houston, they think awful defense, especially against centers, will allow double-digit rebounds, will allow a ton of points. But Jokic has been someone who's been an easy target. He hasn't been performing at the same level he has last season. Jamal Murray is back, and that's made a big difference. On top of that, Michael Porter Jr. obviously being heavily involved. And so for me, I think it's a great play. You know, it just depends on how does he play. Does he pass a lot? Does he rebound? Like some games he gets no rebounds, and you're like, dude, you're 7 feet tall. Go get some rebounds. But that's just how he plays. And if they win, no one cares. If they lose, maybe he's the reason they lose. But I'm actually with you on this one. I do think he's probably going to go under. And I think based off all the data you presented, it is a great play. Now, I'm kind of on the same breath as you. I'm looking at Kelly Oubre right now. And right, I don't know if he's going to go over in this one. You know, people talk about Gordon Hayward. Gordon Hayward's out. Kelly Oubre's been getting a lot more minutes. You can see right now his number on PrizePicks is 19.5. It's actually slightly moving down on the books. It's minus 120 on DK or lower. It's 18.5 on a couple of books. He's up against the Boston Celtics today, who at one point were the best defense versus small forwards. You see we have them ranked around 22. Hashtag Basketball has them at number 2 in the league, allowing only 16 points a game to opposing small forwards. Ray, Kelly Oubre has played the Boston Celtics 20 times. How many times do you think he scored 20 points?
I'm going to assume, since you set the question up like this, probably like once or twice.
He's done it once his entire career versus the Boston Celtics in 20 games, and it dates all the way back to 2018. He's been
Damn.
on two other teams since then. And again, it just comes down to is Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum will lock him up. They'll force someone else to beat them. And that's the main reason why I am looking at an under here. I think this is more of a flex play, in my opinion, because he has been so good. But I think the data supports it. And I think that the bookies especially are not expecting him to have a great game. It will be someone else who beats them, in my opinion. And I don't think Oubre is going to get there. But someone I do think is going to get there is DeAndre Ayton. I'm looking at his rebounds and assists, a line that I've been targeting a lot lately. People who've been watching the channel consistently, rebounds and assists is one that I've found a lot of edge in. And the main reason with Ayton, he's hit this number in 5 straight. He's hit it in 6 of his last 7. He's been averaging 17.4 over his last 5 games. And Sacramento is in the bottom 10 at allowing rebounds and assists to opposing centers. This is a line that it has been really good for me, whether it's Shea's rebounds and assists have been great. Ayton's been performing very well, and he has double-digit rebounds in each of his last 5 games against Sacramento Kings. So I think this is a great spot for Ayton. He's been diming people up a little bit more recently. I think he's in a great spot to go over. Ray, how do you feel about DeAndre Ayton over 12.5 rebounds and assists?
I mean, I like it. I really was. I was looking at an Ayton fantasy score play, but haven't dove enough into that to recommend it. But I mean, you look at the data and what he's done. I mean, my only question for you with this one is the Kings are pretty good defensively, man. This is a tough defensive matchup. So just walk us through that, because that's what scares the hell out of me is bucking the trend, especially when it's a tough defensive matchup.
Well, I mean, I think that actually favors what I'm looking at, right? I'm looking for a guy who's not necessarily going to score, but going to facilitate and rebound. And for a guy who has been getting more rebounds lately, I still think he's going to crash the boards. He's been getting a ton of boards recently, had multiple games going well over double-digit rebounds. I think so. For me, you look at the book line right now, it's 10.5 or 9.5, heavily juiced to the over for the rebounds. And then you look at the assist line, it's right around 2.5 plus money. So that alone tells you he's about at a 13 plus money for both. And so he's right around there. I think it is a pretty good matchup for him. And for a guy who has been dominating lately, whether that's scoring the ball, even dropping assists and getting a ton of rebounds, I really do trust him to get this. He could get this with the rebounds alone. And you factor in, he has been getting a couple assists here and there. I do like this one quite a bit.
Man, I mean, if he can just give you, you could sneak in 2 assists in there. I mean, just his rebounds alone, like you said, man, he's been pretty good over his last 5 games and averaging 15.5 versus sack, and 12.5 is the line for the rebounds and assists. All right, I'm in. I'm going to stay in this game, Jay, and I'm going to talk about a rookie. I'm going to talk about Keegan Murray, who's coming back from back injury, and I want to talk about his fantasy score, but we're taking a look. Let's go look at Keegan Murray and where the books are. His points, this actually has dropped to 9.5, 8.5 on FanDuel, 9.5 in other spots. Heavy juice to the under Keegan Murray, but I don't want to target his points, Jay. I'm looking at his fantasy score. Again, this was the lowest, or I guess the highest rated underplay in our model. Keegan Murray under 17.5 fantasy score offered by PrizePicks. Again, coming back from back surgery. The Kings are balling right now offensively. They're not going to ask Keegan Murray to do a ton. He does have, the last 2 games he played in, he had back-to-back double-digit rebounds. But this is one where the standard deviation on him, I mean, even on the high end of what Keegan Murray can do, we only have him projected for right around 17.3. On the low end, 5.9. We've got him over his last 5 games that he played, averaging about 11.6 fantasy score. And anytime I see the projection that is lower and or higher than the prop, depending on how I want to play it and over and under, I love it, right? Love this right now. Like right now, Jokic's last 5 average 50.6, and then I see the prop at 56.5. Looking at the matchup, looking at all that stuff, that's why the under feels really good for me with Keegan Murray tonight versus Phoenix. I know it's a late game, so I wouldn't recommend it. It is a core play, but if you want to know earlier, I think this is the final game on the docket tonight, so you have to stay up till damn midnight to figure out if it cashes or not. But I am going to take Keegan Murray under his 17.5 fantasy score. It's a difficult matchup. You see the opponent allowed against a small forward position. Phoenix is only allowing about 31.2 fantasy score to all position players that are labeled as a small forward. I don't think that the Kings are going to need him. He could be facing limited minutes today, coming back from injury. I'm taking an under Keegan Murray. Definitely going to be a core play for me. But if you want to know if you hit or not earlier than in the night, then don't take him.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be facing probably their best defender in Mikal Bridges on top of that, right? A guy who's been, for the past few years, perennially in the Defensive Player of the Year awards race. He's going to be one of their best defenders. He's going to see him a lot. Who he ultimately matches up with, maybe he gets a bit of Fox, but I do expect him to watch Keegan Murray pretty heavily, depending on how they do play this. But, you know, if for some reason they're matched up, it's an awful matchup for him. He can play him on the perimeter. He's going to struggle. And really, Keegan Murray, he's going to get rebounds and he's going to shoot threes. And so if doing that against Phoenix is not a great recipe, especially when we're already talking about DeAndre Ayton being a black hole in the middle of the defense, getting those rebounds will be hard for him to get offensive rebounds on top of that. So I do like it. I think I'm with you on that play. I think it's a great spot. Like you said, sometimes it's great to target a player who is coming back, who you expect limited minutes from. I've made a lot of money off Kawhi Leonard the past couple of weeks, so I'm definitely on board with this play for sure.
There it is. There go our core 4 plays. Nikola Jokic under 56.5 fantasy score. Kelly Oubre under. Jay is taking an under. Mr. Flamethrower himself, Kelly Oubre, 19.5 points. DeAndre Ayton, more than 12.5 rebounds and assists. Love that play, Jay. And Keegan Murray, under 17.5 fantasy score. There goes 2 plays from me, 2 plays from Jay. You can power play those bad boys, mix and match unit allocation. We ain't gonna bat 100% every night, but I promise you we're gonna keep giving it to you for free 99. All you gotta do is hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, like the content. We would greatly appreciate that. Take what you like, leave what you don't. Just let us know how you feel about the plays on your way out of the building. So if you tail, give PrizePicks hell. And if we fail, do not bail. We'll be back with more NBA picks tomorrow. Good luck. Good night. We out. Peace. God damn it. The outro's not there. Son of a bitch.